So this really starts out with how do we evaluate the mental stability of people who fly? Obviously, the companies, the airlines themselves do psychological tests initially when those pilots are hired, and that's kind of the end of it. Now, of course, there's the periodic, the annual physicals, which are primarily physical flight physicals. They don't really get into a new battery of psychological tests. So that's considered a potential gap in all of this. There is not a periodic check into a pilot's mental health. But you can also look at that in terms of, okay, what is the pilot's financial health? What is a pilot's romantic health, or in terms of his family situation? Are there other motivating factors here that might trigger something like this that really have nothing to do with mental illness, a defined mental illness condition? Now, we put a lot of faith in our pilots. It is really, they are the final person. They are the captains. They are the co-captains of these airplanes. We are basically saying to them, you are in charge here. You are making the decisions. And even the way the airplanes are designed, those are the people up front in the airplane that are making a decision on what to do. They are given that. So even when we take technologies like the enhanced ground proximity warning system that when you're flying through the mountains warns the pilot both in a visual display and an auditory note warning them of terrain ahead, and then even telling them to pull up if they're within about 30 seconds of actually hitting a mountain or hitting the ground anywhere. It's the pilot has to pull that up. Now, where do we go from here? I think the industry is very confounded on what to do next, because basically aviation is built around this, as rare as these incidents are. Yes, I think we're going to see a review of that, but there are going to be no quick fixes here. Could you, for example, design the airplane to where it would never go below, say, 20,000 feet over the Alps? It's possible, but do you want to then take that decision-making authority away from the captain when the circumstance might dictate you need to go below 20,000 feet over the Alps and somehow thread your way even through them? So that is going to be the debate heading forward. Now, what about the airlines? Well, obviously, we know what the rules are here in the United States. There's the no alone zone. Nobody can be in the cockpit by themselves, although we have had other incidents like the Egypt Air crash, Flight 990 off the coast of Nantucket back in the 90s, where you did have two people in the cockpit. That did not prevent the crash in this case. There's some discussion about maybe even having a third pilot in the cockpit, as we did, frankly, when the technology was older, where you had a pilot, a co-pilot, and a flight engineer. Well, the technology doesn't need that third person anymore, but could there be somebody riding back there? A lot of international flights have multiple crews, but not all those people are in the cockpit at the same time, so could theoretically be locked out of the cockpit at that point. So the industry has a lot to deal with here, but I think this really boils down to this point. Anytime you make a change in aviation, you have to consider the consequence. You have to consider the other edge of the sword. There are no quick fixes to any of this. So I think we are going to see things like conferences and get-togethers that are going to happen here to try and figure this thing out, to try and make sure this never happens again, with the reality being is we may not be able to prevent it from happening again.